What's up, everybody? We alive. Yet another day above soil. You see it right here? I'm back at it. I'm back at Black Eyed Susan, because they're going to get a very special delivery for Mother's Day. And once again, Black Eyed Susan is located in the fantabulous historic Glendon, Maryland. Glendon, Maryland's a catty corner away from Reisterstown, on the northwestern part of Baltimore County. As per one of my last videos, I made hamantaschen. I'm here to show y'all how to make the best chocolate and cinnamon babkas. If you or anybody else you know wants to bake along with me, y'all go right ahead. Get your spatula, get your ingredients, and run them by the screen. Hope y'all ready, because we is about to burn. All right, y'all. It's time to run by the ingredients that y'all are gonna need for your chocolate and cinnamon babka. But before we begin, I must certainly remind you to wash your hands. The food that we make within this kitchen is blessed. Therefore, you're going to need to wash them hands. So, you're going to need quite a bit of flour for this. You're going to need some whole wheat, some 100% AP flour. I'm using a papaya flour. Got it from H-Mart. You're going to need granulated sugar, whole milk, not 1%, not 2%, whole milk. You're going to need some eggs. For the chocolate babka, I'm using this orange. For the cinnamon, I'm going to use the lemon. I'm going to use the zest of it. I'm actually going to be using yeast. You've never seen me use yeast before, but I'm going to show you how we're going to make this yeast activated. I'm using fast rising instant yeast. I'm going to use pure vanilla extract because imitation is not real vanilla. Olive oil for your bowl to set the dough in. We're going to need some salt. What I have here is 10 tablespoons of butter. This essentially what I'm doing is making 2 chocolate babkas and 2 cinnamon. So the recipe that I'm going to put in the description, if you want to make just one babka, cut the recipe in half. So in addition to the ingredients that you need for your dough, you're going to need ingredients for the filling. The filling for both the chocolate and the cinnamon both require butter. And you're going to need some butter. I'm going to tell you that. You're going to need some semisweet dark chocolate morsels. And we cacao. That's for the chocolate. I'm also going to add cinnamon and cardamom. You also need some brown sugar. And you know what? You're also going to need white sugar as well. Now for the cinnamon, all y'all going to need is this. White sugar, brown sugar, cinnamon, and butter. I'm actually going to be making the filling tomorrow after I bowl. Today's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday, I'm actually going to bake the loaves. This is why. So outside of my videos, I work for CCBC. I like to do nature walks. I do some art, and I also bowl. When I bowl in the evening, and I come home late at night. When it comes to rising dough, it's all about mindset, and you're going to need to take your time. Especially with this, it's going to need some time for the yeast to settle and to rise. There's no way I'm going to be capable of doing it 10:30 at night, because I'm going to be up all night if I did it on Wednesday. Low key, I already made the cinnamon filling. I can show y'all how to make the cinnamon filling when I make yeasted rugelach. That video is going to come out soon. But anyway, those are going to be the ingredients that you're going to need for your chocolate and cinnamon babkas. Let's get started. All right, you know what? We're going to start this off real simple. First thing we're going to do is we're going to sift in 4 cups of AP flour. Let's sift that in real good. This is 1 cup. And then we're going to do it 3 more times. Once we got our 4 cups of flour in there, behind that, we're going to add a teaspoon of flour. And once again, I'm multiplying this whole recipe. If you want to make one babka, you're going to need the zest of half an orange. I'm using this whole orange. I've actually made this babka before, and I actually used a whole orange for one babka. That was a lot of orange. I like things spicy, and I like things sweet. If I thought there was too much orange, then it was too much orange. But yeah, we're going to use a little bit less, half this orange. It's already smelling good. I want this whole, the oils of this orange to be well incorporated. Yep. This next part is where things are going to get a little bit technical. Sugar is also a dry ingredient. For this recipe, we're going to need half cup of white sugar. Before you put all of the sugar into the dry ingredients, you're going to need to save 2 teaspoons of sugar. We're going to put that aside, and we're going to put the remainder with the dry ingredients. You're going to see in just a minute why I'm doing this. Now, this is where things are going to get very, very interesting. So next, I'm about to prepare milk. And this is not going to be just a regular experience. Anyway, a little bit more than half a cup of milk. We're going to put this in the microwave, and this next part is very important. And this is also a part where things are going to vary. My mom bakes bread. She does, and she makes rolls. When it comes to using this, she wants to make sure that the milk or the water is less than 110 degrees. But actually, when it comes to the temperature of the milk, I do between 110 and 120 degrees. If your milk is too hot, your yeast is going to die. If you have more than 1 teaspoon of sugar per pack, your yeast is going to get confused with all the sugar. If you don't have enough sugar, the yeast is not going to activate. This is something that's going to take a lot of practice. If you find yourself getting deep in the weeds, it's okay. It's not going to work your first time. It didn't work my first time, but you gotta keep your head up because it does. It's working with yeast is gonna take practice. Another thing, this is instant yeast. You could actually put this straight into the dry ingredients, but I like to see the yeast bloom because I don't know if this yeast is alive or dead. I got this, 4 days ago? Yeah, 4 days ago. I don't know if it's a good or not good cut of yeast. I'm still gonna proof it. I don't know if y'all could see it upside down or right side up, but this is 118. this milk is ready. Now we're gonna put the yeast in the lukewarm milk. Cut this bad boy, and I'm actually using 2 packets of yeast, and this is Insta yeast. Put that one in here, put this one in here, and then we're gonna mix it up real good. Mix it up nice and incorporate it like this. You know what? I think I'm gonna time lapse this. That would be cool. Y'all see how it's bubbling like this? And that separation? If you see that your yeast is looking like this, it's alive. This is good yeast. This is very good yeast. You can see the separation between the milk and the yeast. This right here, this is gold. And it's still growing. The foam on this is still growing. Before it spills over, I might as well put it right in there. You remember all those dry ingredients? Now we're going to include the wet, which means we're going to put in the yeast. And you're going to need the script. You see all this other stuff, that yeast? We're going to need all of it. Every last drop of it. This is all very good. Very, very good yeast. Every last drop. I'm going to put it right into the dry ingredients, which once again, this is Insta yeast. Some people just put the yeast right into the dough. Right into the dough. But I want to make sure that our yeast is alive. Next, we're going to put 2 eggs and 2 yolks right in. And along with the eggs, I've added 2 teaspoons of vanilla, pure vanilla extract. Next, we're going to mix it on low for now. And we're going to make sure everything is nice and incorporated. I'd say that all the ingredients got mixed in real good, but we're not done with the actual dough yet. This next part is also equally important. We're going to lower this, take the paddle attachment off, and we're going to put our dough hook in. And this is really starting to get cohesive. You see how it's sticking to my fingers like this? This is what you're going to look for. I'm going to take this dough off and put the dough hook on. And then we're going to incorporate our 10 tablespoons of butter that is at room temperature, 1 by 1. All right, here's the dough hook. I'm going to slide that in here, rise it up, and we're going to let it go for a little spin. And we're going to add this butter. We're going to add this butter a couple bits at a time, 1 by 1, so it's not all clumpy. All right, in a very similar fashion to how I would do pound cake, I'm going to scrape the sides so that everything is nice and incorporated. This dough is looking pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. This is going to be a good dough. All right. So, after you incorporate all your butter, your babka dough should look a little something like this. I'm actually going to dust this with just a touch more of AP flour, because I want it to be like a little bit more cohesive before I hand knead it. I'm gonna add just a little pinch of it. There we go. That's enough. Right there. Raise it up again, and then I knead it. Let me see. And you're going to need to go by feel on this. It needs to be, this needs to be kneaded a little bit more. Yeah. Because it's still sticking to my fingers. It's going to need to, I'm going to knead it. Probably put a little bit more flour in here. All right. Next thing we fixing to do is hand knead the dough. Your standing mixer can only put up with so much. So I'm putting a little bit of flour right here. A little dusting of flour. Put it right here. And then let's take the dough out the bowl. Take this dough out the bowl, and we're gonna knead the dough. Dusting this. There we go. And then what we're fixing to do, we're just gonna fold, keep folding, and we're gonna knead the dough. Just like this. This is all about feel. I'm just gonna keep folding and keep folding until I can't fold no more. This is how to tell when your babka dough is good to go. If it comes together like nope, it's not easily tearing apart, and you see how it's springing back together like this, that's the first tell. Can even tear a little bit off and do a little bit of a window check. Actually, yeah. I can see the light. Yeah. Pull that a little bit more. And then here is my final check. Okay, it's smooth. And when I put my finger in it like this, you see how it's coming back? And you put your thumb in there. And you see how it's coming back. This one is ready. So yeah, I perfectly hand kneaded the dough. This is for the chocolate babka, because this one has orange. So you don't need orange zest, but once you have a chocolate babka without orange, you're gonna wish that you gonna have it. Anyway, that's the dough. I need to get a big bowl. Get our bowl. Olive oil. Gonna put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom like this. Swash it around like so. Remember to get all the edges. All the edges, because you do not want your dough ball to stick. Yep. So we're going to put one side like this, flip it over again, flip it over again. Boom. All right. And because I'm actually going to bake this in 2 days, I'm gonna wait 30 minutes for this to rise, and I'm gonna put plastic wrap on this and let it sit at room temperature for 30 minutes. This is the part where I'm going to be very realistic with all y'all. The cinnamon babka is going to be made literally just like the one I just finished. The only thing different is instead of an orange, you're going to use your lemon. You're going to use that lemon zest. Another thing that's different is the filling. This right here is cinnamon sugar filling. I made this last night because by mistake, I don't make mistakes, I make happy little accidents. Anyway, I melted butter, and I didn't mean to melt it, I wanted cold butter, but I was going to use the butter anyway, so I might as well just use this for the cinnamon sugar filling. I'm going to have to use the butter anyway. But anyway, if y'all want more information on that, wait for a few more videos. But the cinnamon sugar filling, I'm going to probably pop this in the microwave and it'll be good to go. All right, so before I go a little bit more in the weeds with how I've risen this dough and how I put it in the refrigerator to cold ferment, usually the dough would be fine if it ferments for about 24 hours. Due to some of the time constraints I had for the due dates and whatnot for these babkas, I didn't have 24 hours and I was going to be sleep deprived and whatnot. So I actually am about to put this dough in the refrigerator for 48 hours. Let's see how it's going to come out. Alright, after 2 days of the dough slow rising in the refrigerator, looks a little something like this. Yep, it's a slow rise. This one's the one with the lemon zest, the one with the orange zest over on the other counter. You can actually do this after 1 night of the dough being in the refrigerator, but I did it for 2 nights because of the timing. But yeah, before I get into business with this, I'm gonna make a chocolate sauce. So this is how we going to start the chocolate sauce. Bring a saucepan of water to a boil. That's the first step. The water's now boiling. I kind of did a little bit of a quick start on the butter. It's slightly melted. We need 1 stick of butter and a little bit over 1.5 cups of dark chocolate. Behind that, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. And then you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of white sugar. Ooh. Okay, this is the part where we can live a little bit dangerously. Let's add half a teaspoon of some cardamom. Dark chocolate and cardamom, what? Yes, believe me when I say this, it's gonna work. I'm telling you. And then behind the cardamom, we're gonna add a little bit, we're gonna add a half teaspoon of some cinnamon. And also, we're gonna add some salt. Yep. And then after all of that is said and done, we're going to start mixing it. We're going to mix it gently. So everything is combined. There's a little bit of whisk. I'm going to whisk this together like this. Until everything is kind of cohesive. And the reason why I'm doing it this way so that it's not directly in a pan is number 1, cleanup's a little bit easier, and number 2, the temperature kind of holds better when it's in this kind of bowl. So we're just gonna mix. And I always keep almost forget this last ingredient. You're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of cacao, because that's going to add a lot of body to our chocolate sauce. If it doesn't already have body to it, yeah, you're mistaken. This is going to be luxurious. We're just going to keep on mixing until everything is nicely incorporated and melted. That right there is the chocolate sauce. Are we going to put it on the dough right now? No! And there's a reason for why. The dough is cold. And this chocolate filling is slightly hot. If I put this sauce on it right now, the dough's going to come out very, very sloppy. So we're actually going to let this chill for about 15 minutes. But while we wait, we can start on the cinnamon babkas. So there's a reason why I put this dough in a refrigerator for the amount of time I did. This is called a cold fermentation, and you can see how it's very sturdy. Now, I could have done this within a day. I could have. But however, I wanted to do it in 2 days because of the timing and a whole bunch of other stuff I had going on. If I were to wait even longer, this dough wouldn't be as satisfying. It smells good too. So this is what we're going to do. Place the dough on the table. Get ourselves a knife. We're going to cut this dough in half like this. Because this is 2 babkas. Matter of fact, yeah, 2 babkas. I'm gonna gently shape this into like a rectangular shape, so that way when I get my rolling pin, it's easier to shape. It's already very easy to shape because it's already cold. Now, if it's a hot dough, it's gonna be a little bit tougher to shape, but right now this is looking gorgeous. Same with the other one. Now next, we're gonna flour. The surface. And this needs to be a little bit bigger surface. Just like this, maybe a little bit more. We're going to also have to flour our rolling pin because I don't want my dough to stick. Place the dough on the counter like this. And a little bit of flour on top of the dough, just like this. And we're going to start rolling the dough. And I want my dough to be a rectangular shape. We want this to be like a 9 by 13 inch rectangle. I'm gonna keep rolling it just like this. Gotta put your whole arm, foot, and elbow into the shaping. Some people want to be all fancy and use a ruler. You don't need no ruler, because I know for a fact this is way more. This has got to be way more than 13 inches right here. All right, we got a rectangular shape, y'all. And this is the cinnamon mixture. So I have like 1 stick of butter, 1.5 cups of sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, maybe a tablespoon of cinnamon, maybe a little bit less, probably less. So I was just guesstimating, but when I make something with cinnamon, this could actually be good for honey buns or cinnamon rolls. I'm going to take a little bit of that cinnamon mixture. I'm going to smooth it on out like this. We're going to leave a little bit less than an inch on the perimeter. All right, now that it looks like this, yeah, actually, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at this pan right here. I want this to be this size. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll it this way. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. Roll it like this. This is a lot easier. This is the fun part, because I'm actually making a legitimate shape, the legitimate shape of the babka. I'm gonna just roll it like this. Stretch it out a little bit. Now, crimp it down like this. And we're gonna do it again with this other half of the babka. Might as well cut it like this. Right here, cut it right here. Pro tip, now that you're at this shape like this, like a log, what you could actually do is freeze it for about a minute. So that way it can cut a little bit cleaner. I'm gonna actually get another tray, and I'm gonna put it on top of that tray, go in the freezer for a few minutes. And now we fixing to roll it up. Gonna roll it out, get a little bit of a lip here. And then we're gonna throw this in the freezer for a few minutes so that it will cut cleanly. Yep, and then we're gonna roll it on out, just like this. Yes, sir. All right, there's a reason why I put these logs in the freezer for a few minutes. So that way, when I cut like, I'll put this aside for now. So when I cut like this, see how clean that looks. You can reveal layers, apply layers. And with both of these strands, what we're fixing to do, like this, we're gonna braid it like this. And then, look how beautiful that looks. I just want to eat it now. Just So, got a braid just like this. And now, with this pan, you're going to need some ham. Now that one's out. Got to brown another. Okay. Put your parchment paper in the pan like this. Put the braid in the pan like this. Tuck this little bad boy like that. And here's a little bit extra step. Where is my crumb? Where's my crumb? Oh, here it is. I got a little bit of crumble. Sprinkle the crumble on top like this. I got a recipe for that too. And there's a lot of it's the same thing. Yep. Since we got two braids, we're gonna do that again. All right, y'all. So we've got 2 cinnamon and 2 chocolate babkas. We're gonna let these proof for about an hour and a half until they're nice and puffy. Put a damp cloth on top of them, let it sit. After about an hour and a half, we're gonna put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes. Now this varies from the oven that you use. Some ovens cook slower. Some ovens, like one right here, they're gonna cook quicker. So at around the 30 minute mark, check the babkas. And here they are after the final proof. Right before these go into the oven. They've increased in size slightly. Oven's at 350 degrees. At around 30-ish minutes, I'm gonna check in on them, maybe 20, to flip the pans. And then we're gonna take them out the oven. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to take our cinnamon chocolate babkas out the oven. Oh, I so wanna go! Okay. After this next step, I'm gonna let it set. And then I'm gonna cut it open, package it up, and give it to black-eyed Susan. What I have in this saucepan, some simple syrup. I'm facing the brush with simple syrup. On top, matter of fact, I'm gonna pour it. Go ahead and pour it. Pour it right on the top, just like this. Pour it right on top. Soak up all of that simple syrup, and you're gonna see it glisten. Yep, and I'm also gonna do it with the cinnamon ones. People raved over the babkas. They liked it. The person in charge of Black-Eyed Susan liked it. The person who was in charge of Boxwood collection, she liked it too. Everybody liked the babkas. So what had happened was the owner of Black-Eyed Susan, or one of the people who was a proprietor, inquired about danishes for Dad for Father's Day. We've got a little bit of a conundrum. You see, you've already seen me bake a whole bunch of stuff. And you've seen me bloom the yeast. You've seen me make cookies. I made pound cakes, and I even made things that are more savory. Your boy hasn't ever made danishes. Challenge accepted. If you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe. It's right down below. I'm going to also include the link to my Instagram, Boxwood Collections link to Instagram, and also Black-Eyed Susan's Instagram link, and the ingredients for these fantabulous chocolate and cinnamon babkas right within the description. There's a lot of things within our society that discriminate. Death, however, still doesn't discriminate. Until next time I see y'all later. Peace.